Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lyds, and we're back to break some more thrones, and thank goodness that we just saved Shoot, because if we had not succeeded, I would have been devastated. But anyways, let's go head out here just a second, because I wanted to finally see if we could lock down that place where we got the map for a golden chest, but we've not yet actually located it. I'd like to do that before we start progressing forward here, because we are approaching a main quest section right over here, so I imagine that may be the next thing that we run into after we're done with that. And I think we want to make sure that we pick up everything that there is to pick up from a golden chest standpoint beforehand. And so I imagine that since we got that a while ago, that's a map, that it is probably a little bit further back, and my guess is if we look at, oh, well, not this. We look at, rather, the actual map itself. It is, what, this one? No. It is that one. And initially I had thought that maybe this was water or a river of some sort, and that may have thrown me off a bit here. So I'm thinking that if that's actually something like, say, a dirt path, that, I mean, we can't really tell the color from that preview there, right? But if that's actually a dirt path, then we might have been just looking in the wrong areas. Like, we're just looking around here. Can we even get... Have we even tried going here? Like, how do you get to that spot over there to the far right side? How does one do that? Because I was thinking that if we're looking for places where there's basically a dirt path that loops around a little hut, then that kind of looks like it. You know, initially we had thought that that was going to be something that was, again, water, not a dirt path, and so maybe we had just completely dismissed that possibility previously, but how the heck did we get over there? Let's go all the way around this way? If so, then, my goodness. Is this even, have we even been here before? Hold on. Where is this? This is... Okay, another access point there. It looks like, from our map, the place I was trying to get to is, what, either here or here, and so if we're reading into that, and in theory, there's a way through the trees here. I'm not sure how indicative that preview on our map really is, but I would like to just finally get that chest acquired, and put it in the rear view mirror, so to speak, so that we can carry on and, you know, move forward. Since it's something that we've been thinking about for a little bit of time now. Like, can we sneak through here? Doesn't seem like it. No, I'm trying to go this way, and Meve is insisting on going around. Hold on. Will she auto do it? She will. She will. It's like, is there anything here I feel like it could be? Right here-ish? Here we go. There it is. Okay. So yes, it definitely was a dirt path rather than a winding river or, well, I guess this is also a river, but that was what we had initially thought. Let's see, it is a border for Gwent multiplayer. Okay, and it looks fancy. So definitely a nice pickup. Yeah, I don't think... I mean, we must not have checked this place before. And there's even... Look at this. A little bit of additional resources as well. So, I suppose, a little bit of extra benefit of making a point of going this way as well for that reason. So, nice. This isn't anything, is it? No? Don't think so? Okay. That... There's like a little bit of color to it. No, don't think so. Okay. In which case, let's carry on here. And like I was saying before, I think we press forward here, and we're expecting to run into some kind of main quest encounter. Not really sure we know what to expect, other than we're, well, maybe it's even worth double-checking here, I suppose. If I could recall what our most recent indication was of what our next main quest objective is. Your Highness, Nilfgaardians have marched toward our city, burning everything in their path. They've siege towers, battering rams, catapults, ballistae. and 3 full infantry regiments. Without reinforcements, we shan't hold them off for more than a day. And we've heard nothing back from the capital, nor seen any sign of extra troops. Please, my lady, save us. Gideon Barr, Garrison Commander. Okay. We've already prayed at this, I believe, right? Looks like it. And our morale is normal. Okay, for a second there, this looked low. Because, I was gonna say, we are perhaps headed into what could be some kind of difficult encounter here. And, we would like for our morale to be high, of course. Okay. Because, yeah, there it is. Main quest marker is, right there. So it may very well be the first thing we find as soon as we cross over here. So here's the thing. We are, of course, in, what? Lyria, I believe, at the moment. And that's a Nilfgaardian flag. That's a Nilfgaardian flag. Those are Nilfgaardian colors. This doesn't look good. Also, you know, hearing lots of, ruckus. Army Group East Camp. Yeah, it's looking a whole lot like something pretty terrible happened here.
Look at the palisades. The machines of war. Too many to count.
I cannot fathom it. Has Nilfgaard sent all its forces into Lyria?
No, your grace. But a single army.
Gods protect us.
The Queen uttered a juicy curse. Dravograd.
As curses go, this one was juicy.
Guardians all round it. 3, perhaps 4 battalions of armored infantry. Arbalists and cavalry behind them. Trebuchet volleys had punched holes in the walls, while battering rams had twisted the main gate open. But elsewise, the city was mere moments from falling to the foe.
Yikes. Well, I guess a good time for us to show up, right? It sounds like they could use a hand.
Doomed. We stand not a chance. Nilfgaard outnumbers us twofold.
Whoa, slow down there. Slow down there. We got a chance.
Spirit into the fight. Double the heart. Lyria!
Emboldened by their valiant queen and commander, the
That's it.
Lyrians
That's more like
charged
it.
headlong at Nilfgaard's lines into a hail of bolts and arrows.
Alright, bring it on, Nilfgaard. We aren't going down without a fight. Okay, let's see here. The Nilfgaardian soldiers were well equipped. Each wore heavy black plate, a helm topped with black wings, and wielded a tall pavise shield emblazoned with the golden sun. The Lyrians, in their quilted jackets and light mail, appeared all the smaller and weaker by comparison. Yet they were to prove that the imposing Nilfgaardian armor was but a pretense of power. Okay, interesting. So it's a story battle, of course, with special rules. We have an optional objective here to eliminate Vermeed, Commander. Okay. Well, if this is any preview of what we're going to run into here, it looks like he's a rather powerful card, 20 power. And, of course, we'd like to get rid of him if we can. But, other than that, I suppose, I don't know if that's the only special rule there is, but let's get started here. And let's see what kind of trouble we can get ourselves into. Okay. So, let's see if we can hide our cards here real quick, just to see if we can gather any information about what we're going to be dealing with here. So here's Vermeed. Every turn on turn start, restore a unit to its base power. If it is destroyed, Meve wins the battle. Oh! Huh? Wait. My confusion here is, what is it referring to? Because is that referring to these other units that he would be restoring, or is he referring to himself? Because, of course, our optional objective was to destroy Mead, so I assume that it's him, but grammatically speaking, the language is unclear. In fact, the grammatical structure would suggest that it is the units that he is trying to restore, because that is what the prior sentence is referring to. So I think it actually means we're trying to, or our automatic win is to destroy Vermeed. And so maybe that's the way in which we can sort of expedite the process, but otherwise, it just comes down to, if we don't destroy him, we obviously need to outscore our opponent. So, other than that, we have Trebuchets here. After 3 turns on turn start, damage all enemies by 1. Okay, so the longer these hang around, the more dangerous they become. Oh, and interestingly, they're staggered. So this one's going to trigger basically immediately, followed by immediately thereafter this one, and then immediately thereafter this one. So these are basically going to non-stop alternate, dealing 1 damage, unless we can, of course, get rid of them. So it does definitely look like damage is going to be key here. So I think the Lyria and Arbalists are definitely an intriguing option. I think the War Wagons can help power up those Arbalists. The Scythemen, probably not so relevant because, I mean, yes, they do help us put up points, but they don't directly increase our damage. So I'm thinking we probably dump you along with the Rivia and Pikemen, which again can indirectly improve the effectiveness of the Lyria and Arbalists, but does not directly impact how much damage we deal. So I think we swap you out. And the Field Medic, do we know, is this multiple rounds? I don't think it said it was a shortened battle. So I think we do potentially have multiple rounds, unless of course we destroy Vermeed. Yeah, and the fact that they have resilience, to me, suggests that that would presumably mean that we have multiple rounds, otherwise there'd be no point for them to have that status. So, okay. In which case, that does make the Field Medic relevant, or more relevant, because at the very least we can bring some cards back in round 2 or round 3, whereas if we didn't have an additional round, then we would just be relying on our opponent actually destroying a unit before we could bring one back with Field Medic. So I think we get rid of the Lyrian Scytheman next. And the Regiment Drummer, it's a little risky. We don't know what exactly we're going to get with it, of course, but it could work. Just remind me. With our Decoy, return an ally from the battlefield to hand. So this is really best for when we have one of our huge units. Ideally, something like Reynard, but we don't have him in our hand right now. Create a bronze card. I mean, yes, but that's also pretty unreliable. So, I mean, I assume usually what happens, at least in multiplayer Gwent, is whenever you have something that says create like this, the game usually presents you with 3 random options among the total pool of cards from which you potentially could pick, and then you get to choose one of those 3, but it's not like you get to see every single possible bronze card and choose between those. If so, it'd be great, because of course you can pick exactly what fits the situation, but, you know, if we're only getting to choose 3 out of the potential 30 cards, then what are the chances one of those 3 are going to be the right card for the situation? Might not be that high, so I think we swap you out. And the Regenberg is definitely good when it comes to damage. We do have another one as well, so I like that a lot. I think that is going to be particularly relevant for an encounter which damage is going to be relevant. So we might stick with this here, and especially because remember that redrawing, we've used half of them thus far, and if we do have additional rounds, then I believe this is not refreshed. So let's stick with this. Decoy, maybe not the best. That's it. Let's get rid of him.
We must train our efforts on him.
Okay. So let's see. Like we were saying, we're going to get some staggered damage. Every turn, they're going to deal 1 to all of our units. It's just going to be coming from this guy, then this guy, then this guy. Play the Alba Armored Cavalry. Next time an enemy unit uses an order ability, boost self by 2 and gain 2 armor. So, I mean, does help them put up points, definitely. But if we completely ignore it and just don't care about our points and focus entirely on dealing damage to Vermeed, then that is presumably the way to go. But I think, you know, if we are going that route, we absolutely need to commit to it. So, in which case, what do we want to do? I think we want to go Wagenberg first, and then we start loading up on as many units as possible in that same row, and dish out all the damage we can dish out. And we just hope that this doesn't go down, otherwise that strategy certainly becomes a little less effective. So that, in addition to our leader ability, we're presumably going to be using this on Vermeed as well, but of course he's the only unit that has 20 power at the moment, so it's not going to be quite as effective as it might usually be, but I think we go for it. So Wagenberg here, put it in the melee row just so that it has the range to potentially hit all of them as well. Oh, and those trebuchets are going to definitely reduce the effectiveness of the Wagenberg, so we might not be able to get a wonderfully optimized Wagenberg in that case. We might need to say, do something like play the War Wagon on our next turn to just load up on some quick units there and settle for that. Otherwise, the amount of damage they are dealing is going to keep pace with the amount of armor we're applying. But anyways, let's hit you. And so this does count as an order, which means that this will get boosted. But again, we're hoping that we have enough damage to get rid of Vermeed, in which case the amount of points they have won't matter because we'll automatically win. But we'll see if they have a way to complicate matters. Okay. So yeah, remember the part where I said I didn't fully understand what the phrasing meant on this guy? Yeah, so I thought that he was restoring the power of other units, not himself. Restore a unit to its base power. I suppose that could mean anything. It could mean any unit. It just so happened that he was the only unit that we damaged last turn, so he healed himself. Okay, that certainly does complicate things more than I expected. So, alright, that's an issue. As well as, how did they all just gain immunity? Because now we can't manually target him. And that means that, damaging him specifically becomes suddenly incredibly difficult. Was it you? Give all units immune? Deathwish remove immune from all allies. Oh, man. Yep. This is definitely not as straightforward as it initially seemed. Initially, it was just like, oh, okay, well, we'll just use all of our damage to hit this guy, and then surely that'll be enough, right? No, you see, we can't target him, and he's gonna heal himself, and a whole bunch of other things are gonna happen that's gonna make matters a little more complicated than that. So I think what we go for is we use the Wagenburg, or rather, not the Wagenburg, we use the War Wagon to spawn in additional units here in this melee row to try to power up our Wagenburg as quickly as possible, and then maybe even move in the Lyrian Banner and just activate this more or less immediately, this Wagenburg ability. Although, hold on, so if we do that, we get 3 units from the War Wagon, between the War Wagon and the 2 light infantry. We'll get 1 additional card in this row from the Lyrian Banner, and so that means we'll have 4 armor on the Wagenburg. So if we use that to damage everything in this row, we will we'll damage you by 4. We'll remove this armor, although then again, it's going to be an order ability, so he'll get stronger and we won't have enough to completely remove that armor. You won't have your armor completely removed either. And so that means, once again, Vermeed is just going to heal himself, and we're not going to actually deal any permanent damage in that sense. So that seems like a problem. Like a pretty big problem. So, I mean, and just to be clear, we could use that ability even though many of these guys have immunity, because we'd be targeting an entire row, not a specific unit, so the immunity wouldn't matter in that case. But what I'm wondering is, do we actually target this range row in that case? I mean, sure, it helps us avoid taking a little bit of damage. We won't have enough to remove everything here, but it could distract Vermeed so that he starts healing these guys rather than healing himself, which would then perhaps open up a future attempt to damage him on a more permanent basis on our next turn or the turn after that. So yeah, I don't know. This is going to be a tough one. Let's go for it. But it is not immediately obvious to me what the best course of action is going to be. So yeah, like I said, it's not going to be enough to completely destroy those guys. But okay, again, the phrasing on this guy. The phrasing on this card is it's not good, because apparently he doesn't heal his friends. He only heals himself. So okay, I mean, we're learning, but it does seem as though it is it's not so much of an important factor to damage these guys unless we're going to outright destroy them, because he's not going to heal them, or I don't know if he randomly tries to heal a card, regardless of whether it's actually damaged, and so he just so happens to have tried to heal himself 2 times in a row, even though second time around he wasn't damaged. So that's strange. But what we do have now is we have a lot of cards in this row, and what that does is that means that we can use something like a Lyrian Arbalist to play in this row and deal a bunch more damage. So with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Lyrian Arbalist as the 6, we could deal 6 damage. to 1 unit. And so that's certainly enough to remove any of the trebuchets. Or that's definitely overkill for the trebuchets. But it would be enough damage hit for me and deal enough that he can't just heal off all of it. Although it's still not fantastic. He'll heal most of it. So, still not sure if I love that idea. I mean, we have 2 Arbalists, so we can deal some damage on this turn and then some more damage on our next turn, and then we can do something like Decoy to play it again, although Decoy takes some time because it's 1 turn in which we're putting it back in our hand and not dealing any damage in the process. So I don't love that, because in the meantime, of course, Freeman's going to be healing. So this is far easier said than done. Oh, but not to mention, the trebuchets are going to continue to deal 1 damage, and so they will remove a whole bunch of these guys when they next take their turn. Although, actually, getting rid of the light infantry will deal some damage, so that's not a terrible thing, come to think of it. Alright, let's go with the Arbalist here. Again, oh, they still have immunity. Right. Hold on. Edit undo real quick. Maybe... So that means we need to get rid of you if we even want to try to target for Meve. We don't know where the random damage is going to go, but this is tough. Can we do, what did we say, 6 damage to you with an Arbalist. Enough to get rid of the armor. When both light infantry go down, if they both happen to hit you, then the immunity would go away. But that still feels like that's pretty darn unlikely. So I feel like we might need to wait on the Lyria and Arbalist until we have a little bit more going on. Either once we've damaged the elite already a little bit from one of these guys, or we get more units out here in this row. So, I think maybe we go Wagenburg again, and then just set up for a future round of damage. Of course, this will get hit, so we'll take 1 damage here from this trebuchet, but the random damage gets rid of one of the trebuchets and hits this guy who we really didn't care about, so that's unfortunate. Trebuchet going away is somewhat nice. So, of course, it's the one that just triggered, which is unfortunate. But, okay, so now what I'm thinking is now we basically redo what we did before and play War Wagon here. That powers up this Wagenburg, which means we could remove all these trebuchets, all the remaining ones, if we wanted to. Alternatively, we could start to chip away a bit at the elite and remove 3 of its armor, which is not that exciting, because of course I'm not sure that's really enough to set it up for destruction unless light infantry get destroyed and happen to hit him, but we can't guarantee that that's going to be the case. So, then again, we actually do want them to get destroyed by the trebuchets, don't we? So, I think we hit the melee row here and just weaken the elite. I don't love it. I don't love it, but it's tough. Okay, so now I think we consider using the Arbalist. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage now with the Arbalist. So 1 away from being enough to take him out. That stinks. And, well, if we don't play him this turn, though, we're going to lose these light infantry. Of course, they'll deal damage to the process, which is not a terrible thing, but we will also lose this Wagenburg, which is another 1 damage that we would be losing from the Arbalist, so I think we kind of need to. And then, alright, that does give armor to the Wagenburg, so this will stick around. The only ones that will go down will be the light infantry, and when they do get destroyed, gets rid of one of the trebuchets, and okay, gets rid of the elite. So now we can target for me. So that's good. The problem is we have, of course, used some of our damage leading up to all this. So we do have our leader ability back, so we can do that. Oh, and remember, the Lyria and Arbalist do damage the nearest enemy by 2 when we use our leader ability, and if we do get the second one out here, then we could get a couple extra points of damage from that. And that would hit either Vermeed or the Alba Armored Cavalry. I think it's random. I think we noticed recently that it is random when it comes to, you know, units that are in the same row. So, we, of course, love for it to hit Vermeed. But I think we probably go for that here. I think we go and do this. And then followed thereafter by this. And what we had, I think, 1 hit him, and 1 hit him when it comes to the random damage from the Arbalest. But he heals entirely! Wait. For some reason, I thought he only healed a certain amount. Not entirely. Okay, so we need to one-shot him. We need to one-shot him. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, for some reason, I thought he only healed 4. I don't know where I got that idea from, but for some reason, I was under that impression. So, yeah. That makes matters quite difficult. Wow. Okay. We play the top Blitz unit from our deck. Of course, we don't know what that's going to be. We play a random unit from our graveyard. It's going to be a light infantry, which it's not going to be terribly relevant at this stage. Of course, we can choose to pass. And I think that we're still playing additional rounds, but oh, and they, didn't even occur to me that they passed previously. So we're basically all in that case. If we don't destroy Vermeed in this round, then we are in serious trouble because they have huge card advantage, so they're going to easily outpoint us. So, oh man. So, I mean, at the very least, we're doing this in the name of science. I mean, maybe we just take a dice roll here. Try Regiment Drummer and see what we can get out of it. And I think we're hoping for Lyria and Arbalest. And then we're basically just trying to load up on as many Arbalests as possible. And hoping that when we trigger our leader ability, that combined with all the loyal damage procs from the Arbalest will be enough to actually finish for me. So here goes nothing.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
They do still have 1 trebuchet remaining. That means that they will occasionally deal a little bit of damage, which at this point we can probably out-armor them with the Wagenberg. So that shouldn't be too much of a problem, reducing the number of units in this row. Though we are actually going to get this row pretty full quite soon. So I think, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units in this melee row. 9 is the maximum. So I think we do use the Regiment Drummer, and again, hoping that we get an Arbalest out of this. And, well, it's a Scytheman, in which case I think we deliberately play him here, because we want to make sure we have space for an Arbalest in this melee row. So, again, we're going all out in this round, in which case I think we're trying another Regiment Drummer, which actually should go in this row, because, again, we need the space.
Left, right.
So that sets up
right.
a potential Arbalest with this Regiment Drummer here. And then, you know, worst comes to worst, we decoy one of the Arbalests to replay it. But that is, of course, reducing the number of cards we have in this row. It is a guaranteed Arbalest, yes, but we'd like to get a third one out there to, at the very least, increase the amount of damage that we're getting from our broadsword. Although, actually, I take it back. No, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are synchronizing when we are using our leader ability and when we are activating this Regiment Drummer. That is the way we get the most damage out in one turn. We get all the damage from our leader ability, we get the damage from the procs, the loyal procs from the Lyria and Arbalest, and we also play another Arbalest from our hand using Decoy, and we also play another Arbalest from our deck using Regiment Drummer. So I think that's what we do here. We deliberately decoy now to get you back, and we deliberately do not yet use this. So that this way we have our leader ability. Okay, I think we... Alright, so we're basically going all in on this specific turn. So if we don't happen to get a Lyria and Arbalest from the regiment drummer with his ability, then we probably have lost. But we're taking the chance. So we hit him. That's 8 damage. And our leader ability will be another 4. This is the key. Oh no! No, it's not an Arbalest. So we definitely lost. So let's see. If we had, or I think we've lost. If we had got another Arbalest, it would have been worth what, 9 damage? Because we would have 9 units in this melee row, and then combine that with our leader ability, and it would definitely be enough. Of course, we do still have what, 4 plus 2 for 6 plus 2 for 8. It's so close, but it's not quite enough. So well, I mean, I guess that means, since we know he's going to heal this off, that we deliberately don't use this now, unless my mental math is totally off here. I mean, well, then again, bringing back light infantry is not really going to change the equation at all, so I'm sure. Like, it's not going to be enough either way, I don't think. There you see it. We're a little bit short. But if we had one more of the Arbalists, it would have been enough, and so it was just down to RNG with the Regiment Drummer, trying to randomly get an Arbalest out of our deck. It did not play out the way we wanted it to, though, unfortunately. So, well, I mean, sure, I guess we can pass. But we've lost this round, and we have a humongous card disadvantage, so we have basically doomed ourselves here. So we went all in round 1, and we did not get the result we were looking for. So, I mean, if we had Caldwell, then he definitely could have been enough, because he could have been a way to guarantee we get more Arbalists. But of course we didn't have him, so that could be thinking ahead to when we, I think, inevitably try this again. Caldwell's definitely a card we want to have, in addition to just a bunch of Arbalists. And, well, Pikeman doesn't really matter. Create a bronze card, maybe. Field Medic, I mean, we do have Arbalists in our graveyard at the moment. So...
The Grace, there, on the horizon. Reinforcements for the foe.
What? Oh, for the foe. For a second, I was gonna say, oh, well, were we gonna get reinforcements in round 2 anyway? And so maybe it was worth waiting for it. And, you know, we made a mistake by going all in round 1, but no, it looks like if they're getting reinforcements in round 2, if anything, it is a bad thing. A bad thing to try to save it for round 2. So, alright. I think what we do here is, or we'll try this, but, okay. Remind me what fire does? Every turn start, there's a 33% chance of damaging all units in the row by 2. How long does that last for? Is that indefinite? I mean, you would say that that might be a decent thing to do. It's just that, you know, it's 2 damage. And remember that, of course, Mead is going to heal every turn. So, you know, it helps a little bit. But you still need to get 18 damage from other sources to all trigger on 1 turn. Oh, did I just... so I may have just accidentally canceled out of that, which I honestly didn't even realize was possible. I'm pretty sure I just clicked away from it. So apparently our turn is over now. But we're learning here. Like I said, we're not winning this one on this attempt. We're, at this point, just experimenting a little bit further. I'm sure by you.
What do you want of me?
And we'll get you because you're pretty much one of the only things in our graveyard. Well, now we have a few more things. But, very unlikely to deal enough damage. I suppose we should put those cards next to each other instead of Caldwell. Although, what we can do is we can play... do we have another Field Medic in our deck? We do. So we can do this, which obviously is not enough. I'm going to deliberately save our leader ability here. I know we've had for a little bit, but again, it only matters if we have enough damage to take him out on 1 turn.
To the front yet again.
So what we do here is we go Caldwell.
A lesson in humility coming now.
And probably would have preferred to have gotten the Arbalest second. Get a little bit more damage out of this, but okay, let's see here.
Like a swine in that jacket.
Oh man. Well, again, order of operations just unfortunate. If this had been in Arbalest, then we actually might have been able to do it. Might have been enough. But of course, this won't do the trick. it does look possible. In fact, even with our definitely RNG standpoint, unfortunate circumstances there, but and also definitely just suboptimal overall. But even then, it's definitely doable. You know, I think basically you just need 3 Lyrian Arbalists, and that'll do the trick. But we were stuck with 2 on both round 1 and round 2, so it can work. It definitely can work. I mean, I'm assuming we can try this again. Okay, good. Alright, so we've definitely learned. So we want our Arbalists big time. We very much want those. Decoy could potentially give us the ability to play another Arbalist, especially once we've loaded up on getting more units in the same row. Scytheman, no way. Third Arbalist, huge. Absolutely huge. Love it. Let's get rid of the other Scytheman. So that's where all the Arbalists went, huh? Okay. Sure. Yeah. Let's get rid of the Field Medic. I think this is just a little too slow. Scytheman, no thank you. Wagenberg, okay, we've got now 2 of those. We don't have quite as easy, generation of units. Because we don't have the War Wagons to spawn in 3 cards in 1 turn to power up those Wagenbergs. Remember, we did that last time. That was one of the few ways in which we were able to, I imagine if we didn't have that, would have been struggling to get enough armor to outpace the damage from the trebuchets. So this might actually, dare I say, not be a great card for us to have in this situation, even though it is usually one of our best. Let's get rid of the Field Medic. Again, we're going all out in round 1 here, I think. And we did get a War Wagon.
I see the commander. We must train our efforts on him.
So I think that now the Wagenberg that we do have is considerably more viable. And but remember, last time when we used it, we used it against Mead, but he healed it off. And that obviously was not super effective. So do we instead deliberately just target the trebuchets? Or at least maybe we initially did it, and then in the second round we might have targeted the trebuchets. That might have been it. But is it still worth playing it first? I mean, you do want to play it first, right? To maximize the number of cards that you can get in the same row. I think we do still go for it. And, oh, you know what? We used our leader ability on Vermeed on our first turn, didn't we? So we use this on the trebuchets. That could be very effective. And, okay, so we should be able to take out the trebuchets extremely quickly in that case. Let's go with the Wagenberg first, yes. Then let's use our leader ability on the trebuchets. Won't take them out, but it'll get us very close. And then next turn with the Wagenberg, we should definitely be able to do it. Then I'm assuming this is the same card they had on their first turn last time, I believe. So now let's go with what we did last time, the War Wagon here. But what this does is this allows us to destroy all those guys. So they're no longer a problem. And that means we can more easily load up on units here, which should make it quicker and easier to load up on the damage from the Arbalists, which, I mean, if we start playing them now, of course it's not going to be enough damage to destroy Vermeed from that Arbalist alone. However, the idea is we get enough of them down that let's see, if we play 1 this turn, 1 next turn, we play a 3rd one, so play it 3 subsequent turns. On that 3rd turn, we'll have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage, because there'll be 7 units in that melee row, or at least actually 8 if we use the Lyrian banner as well to put it in this row. So that's 8 damage. Then combine that with the loyal damage from the Arbalists, and that is what? That'll be an additional 2 apiece, and there will be 3 of them, so that'll be 6 damage. So, it's close. Oh, combine that with our leader ability. Yeah, it's a lot. Problem is, this guy's going to tank some of the hits from the loyal as well. We could even deliberately not play our leader ability as soon as it's available. Could wait 1 more turn to get 1 more Arbalist down there, and then completely maximize the damage. I think that's the play. So, in which case, what we do here is we actually, I think we want to deliberately target this Armored Cavalry, because if we can get rid of it and empty out this row, then suddenly the loyal triggers from the 2 damage from all the Arbalists will hit only Vermeed, and we don't have to worry about potentially splitting the damage between 2 different units. The question mark is, do they play that card that gives everyone immunity? So if they do, then that does complicate things. They haven't yet, but they may. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. So now we do this, and that's enough to destroy you, and that's helpful, because now, again, at least we can guarantee, unless they play another card here in their melee row. Oh, they've passed. Hold on. Hold on. So you're saying there's a chance. Like, if we do the math here, like, if we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if we move this in, 8 damage on deploy with this Arbalist. Then we use our leader ability. That's 12 damage. Then we combine that with the 6 damage from all these guys. That's 18. That's slightly short, but if we deliberately wait a turn before using this and get an additional Arbalist out there, then it would be enough. So I think we do that. So let's do this. It doesn't matter who we damage here. I mean, we can destroy you, so I suppose we might as well. And now, this is the turn when we do it. Let's just make sure, do we have enough room to move you in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We should. So move you in. Don't care about you. Then we do this to damage you. Does a ton of damage, of course. Then we use our leader ability on you, and we'll get 2, 4, 6, 8 additional damage from all these guys on top of the 4 from this, and that should be enough. Unless I have miscalculated here, but we get rid of them.
They retreat!
And they retreat.
The city's ours!
And there it is. Was that supposed to hurt? Did we got an achievement for, maybe it was like finishing a match in which we didn't lose any units? I'm not sure if anyone... No, our graveyard is empty, so I think that's what it was.
The Nilfgaardians fled in panic, abandoning war machines, shields, and arms, even their wounded. The defenders rejoiced. They laughed boisterously, and cries of delight and chanting could be heard all around. "Warrior Queen," they shouted. "Meve, Meve, Meve."
Nice.
Hear that, your grace.
Even the rats are excited for us. What, the rats scurrying behind us?
I do. No sound rings more lovely to a ruler's ear.
I hope not. Oh, you mean the cheering. Everyone cheering us up. Yeah, you know, I suppose.
Yet rest on our laurels we cannot. Caldwell, the situation in the town, what can you tell me?
Wall breached. Thrice. 400 wounded, near 1,000 without roofs over their heads.
Yikes.
All nothing compared to the grain stores. Went up in smoke during the siege. And it's some time yet afore the harvest.
Ooh, okay, so you're saying 400 wounded, nearly 1,000 that are now homeless, but you're saying that the food stores getting destroyed will lead to more, starving or I don't know, just suffering of lack of food or actually starving to death? That could be a pretty big problem.
Your Grace, the war's just begun, I know. All coins should bolster the army, yet if we leave the folk of Dravograd no gold, there will be hunger, with all the attendant discord.
I see where this is headed. Okay. So, the question is, do we pay up and get Dravograd to get back on its feet a little bit? Or do we abandon them and save all the money directly for ourselves to, of course, improve our deck and make other upgrades? And I think, interestingly enough, you know, we invested pretty heavily in some upgrades early on, some expensive ones, but we were looking at things that we wanted to improve later on, and there weren't too many things. It seemed like the next upgrades were not yet available to us. So at the moment, at least, we, in some ways, actually have a little bit of excess gold. So I think, for that reason, obviously, something to be said for just saving it up so that once those upgrades do become available, we can get them immediately. But I think on this occasion, I'm fine with shelling out the 1,000 coins. Of course, that is a lot, but let's do it.
The drought of 1258 I remember all too well. I saw famine, what it drives folk to do, the extremes.
And see, we are not a terrible, tyrannical ruler who only does horrendously awful things to their citizens. Sometimes we're merciful. Granted, it has not been often as of late, but every once in a while when we have the opportunity, we'll go for it.
A strong army I need desperately, yet not at all costs. The townsfolk need gold to survive till the harvest. Count how much, then give it to the garrison commander.
Yeah, I mean, maybe don't give 1,000 coins directly to just one dude. That feels like there's lots of ways in which that could go horribly wrong.
As you command, Your Grace.
The battle we've won, there's just the war that remains. And Nilfgaard will strike again, doubt it not. We must move on.
Alright.
Caldwell, ride ahead to Lyria. My son must call a gathering of the Council of Peers. Tell him so. We'll have much to discuss.
Alright.
Reynard and I will follow with the troops. We shall seek out any Nilfgaardian stragglers, prevent them from rejoining the main force.
So, this, by the looks of things, was a pretty darn significant force, but how much of a hole did we punch in the Nilfgaardian army here? You know, like, I mean, you say trying to prevent people from rejoining the main force. This wasn't the main force, was it? Alright. Oh no, we lost Count Caldwell for that. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Of course, he was with us up until just now, and he was one of, if not in some ways even, our best card in our deck. So that's a pretty darn big loss. But fitting, now that he is heading out to Lyria. Though we have acquired something, this card has been added to your army and can be found in the command tent. Fake Florin. Okay. This is or at least this art has a card in the Gwent multiplayer as well, but in Gwent multiplayer it's bribery. So thematically, I suppose, somewhat similar, but we'll have to take a look at that later.
Meve's two adjutants bowed and left the queen to think. She was hungry, sore from the fight, spent. Yet sensing her soldiers' eyes upon her, she set off for the stable, her gait brisk, her head held high.
Yeah, maybe, you know, eating a nice long feast when we just heard about the entire city's food stores being burned to a crisp. Maybe not the best move. So, good idea, Meve. Okay, so, before we carry on here, let's take a quick look at that new card that we picked up, which I believe we will find here at the command tent. So it's Fake Florin. Let's see. So forced units to duel. Oh, I like that. So I can't target bosses. Okay, I was gonna say. So duel means units take turns damaging each other equal to their power, and one of them, until one of them is destroyed. So they basically go back and forth punching each other. Stop punching yourself. Stop punching yourself. And then eventually one of them gets destroyed, and they stop. Of course, if it did work on bosses, it would be unbelievably powerful, because we could almost immediately win almost any encounter in which we need to kill one of the bosses. But I suppose, for balance purposes, that is fitting, that it is not allowed for us to target bosses with it. Though this, I feel like, is something that we would very much like to add into our deck. So this is another one of the slots between Elf and Onion Soup and Decoy. Like, we get rid of Decoy. I feel like this is probably worth including. Or rather, get rid of Elf and Onion Soup. Decoy, to what extent do we feel like we still want this? Or do we have a better alternative? I feel like Lyrian Horn, although it doesn't do a lot against one specific unit. You know, it only deals at most 2 damage to a unit, and it only boosts one of our units at most by 2. Whereas many of our specific objectives require that we get more targeted damage on one specific unit, or protect one of our units. Still feel like, at least in terms of putting up points, it's quite good. I don't know, maybe we stick with this for now, but I may look to swap back into Lyrian Horn. And with that, we've now, of course, well, taken down what may not have been the main Nilfgaardian army. I mean, I imagine there's a lot more where that came from, but I think still a strong performance for Meve, and so we'll be looking forward to pushing forward next time around. But this is probably a good place for us to wrap up here. So thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.